Hello, and welcome to the Trail Manners Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Manning, coming to you from the beautiful trails in Ogden, Utah, but connecting you to wherever trail, ultra, and mountain running takes us. We'll bring trail running to life with amazing athletes, discuss the latest topics, epic journeys, and get you stoked for your next trail adventure. We're sharing the moments that make life special, because even a rough day on the trail beats a good day indoors, and nothing beats time spent with good friends and great stories. Catch us here weekly for your dose of dirt, vert, and good vibes. So now it's time to top off your water, grab some cheese curds, and join us for this week's podcast, where we take you deep into the heart of our sport. It's go time. Well, hey, we are back. This is part 2. This is episode 318 of the Trail Manners Podcast. Launch date on this is March 28th, 2023. Wow, we are back for part 2 with Mr. Kirk Probasco. But as we get started, just hope you all had a chance to listen to episode 317. That was just me talking. So I don't know, maybe you didn't. Who knows? But also stay tuned for our next podcast, episode 319. We're going to have Mr. Jim Skaggs on, the race director of the Buffalo Run, to talk about a little more play-by-play on what happened on race day. But I want to give a couple shout-outs real quick to a few of the listeners that reached out to me over the past few days. We got Matto. Matt, you know who you are, and you're going to be on soon, my man, so thanks for the kind message. Michelle J., thank you so much. And, of course, Megan Flip Phone, and if you've been listening to the show before, you know exactly who I'm talking about on that one. So we're super excited and hear from that. But he's back. The man, the myth that went after his first 50-mile trail race. We got Kirk Probasco joining us for part 2. Kirk, how are you?
100%.
You look great.
Feeling good.
You look great.
Yeah.
So the first episode, we got into a few things, and it kind of, you were vulnerable. Well, you talked about some things that maybe isn't a norm for you, and we appreciate that. But I know you inspired people, the Trail Manners Podcast. We get messages and stuff, but we also had a lot of fun too. So, all right. So a little recap for the listeners out there. Kirk came on. He was tackling his first 50-mile trail race. He's done a 50K before. He's in the ultra scene. But he's new to the big stuff, so he was getting ready to do his first 50, the Buffalo Run 50-miler. A little recap on this. This started last Thursday, a 100-mile race started at 10 a.m., and they also did a 50-mile early start at the same time. So on Antelope Island, the races are Thursday and Friday. They don't race on the weekends because of numbers, so it's a little screwy, so not what people are used to. But then you started Friday morning at 6 a.m., the 50K started Friday morning at 8 a.m., and the 25K started Friday 9 a.m. So you started at 6 a.m. Friday morning, and my phone rang at 12:39, 6.5 hours after the start, and it was you.
Yeah. And
you were saying, hey, man. And I thought to myself, where is he on the course right now at 6.5 hours in? But you were not on foot on the course.
No. Yeah. Well, it started out, let's go back a little bit farther. We paid for the camping out there at the start line. And my wife and I were like, it'd be so much fun. And we'll sit out there in our little trailer and we'll just get up and go hit the start line. And then as we're watching the news and they keep telling us about the, storm coming and the multiple storms coming in. And we finally, on Thursday, we were like, we're not dragging our trailer out there to freeze our butts off and not sleep the night before, right? So I said, I'm just going to get up early, eat a big old bowl of oatmeal, head out there and just do my thing. And then when you get done with work, to my wife, she can come out and watch me finish. And she's so, she's the best gal in the world, because she's like, well, it might be 4. Will I be okay? If I get there at 4? And I'm like, yeah. I will. You'll be able to watch me go over the 30 30-mile mark at 4 p.m. You know, she was just like, she thinks I'm a lot better runner than I am. But so I get up 4 o'clock in the morning, eat my oatmeal, ready to go, and the multiple different like clothes I had to like. I didn't know what to wear.
Yeah.
Like I had outfit picked out, and then I'm like, I can't wear that.
Okay, stop right there. We don't say outfit.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, I had my kit all put together. It was.
This isn't. Yeah, I'm not letting it go there, but keep going. Keep going.
It was a pretty cute outfit. That all matched and no, but so then I went with my shoes that have the sheet metal screws in the soles, you know, because I knew it was going to be a mess. And I get in my car, my truck, and I'm coming down the hill. I live, you know, above 20th Street or above Harrison on 20th Street, and slid right out into Harrison Boulevard.
Wow.
Like, coming, and I'm like, well, it's going to be one of those kind of days.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, this is how we're starting out.
Should have put the studs on my tires.
I'm doing headlights, taillights, headlights down Harrison Boulevard, right? So I get it back under control. I get out there, check in at the, you know, the little thing, drive out and get out. First thing, open the door and step in this puddle that's like 6 inches deep, right? All the way up over my gator. And I'm like, nice. Yeah. So I'm starting out with one frozen foot and then we go over to the start line and all headlamped. And I don't know what it is about a big old pile of people with headlamps on a trail, but it's just so magical. Like, the first couple miles, I was just so happy, and it was muddy and cold, but it wasn't unmanageable, you know. And just that, and you look back, and there's those lines of headlamps, you know, and you look forward, and you can see the lights going through and I'm just like, man, it was so great, and I was so happy, and I ran the first couple of miles straight, you know, before I started doing my run walk, because I didn't want to be a pain in anybody's butt, you know. Walking after a minute and a half of the race, they're like, holy crap, this guy's already hurt.
Pacing myself. Pacing myself.
And but like you talked about last time, I found my guys, right?
Yep.
I found the couple of guys, and we were leapfrogging, and finally the one said, why don't we just run together? And they'd never heard of this, of doing the Galloway run walk. And I'm like, well, that's what I'm doing. So if you want to do it with me, you know, and they're listening for my little buzzer, you know, and
how were their outfits? Pretty good.
They were so cute.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah. They didn't match that great, you know, but
you were kind of the leader.
Oh man, I wished I hadn't a set outfit.
It may not be the last time we say it.
I know
either.
it's going to be a reoccurring event for the rest of my life. So then we're just having like the best time. And I did like 12, 15 miles with those guys. And
Wow.
And they wanted to be under 12-minute miles coming back, you know, out to the ranch and back. And that's what I wanted to be too. And we're doing like 11:15s every mile all the time, run and walk. And it's way sustainable, and we're ahead of where we want to be, and I feel great. And we got out to the ranch, you know, and got a cookie and turned around and coming back, and we're just, you know, making fun of people's outfits as they run by. and we're just cheering everybody. You know, those were the guys that just really wanted to tell everybody on the trail, you know, you're doing great.
Isn't that fun though?
Yeah.
When you're passing people and hearing that back and forth.
And we were like, I was pretty far back in the pack, right where I wanted to be, right, and trying to be super conservative. But by the time we got closer and closer back to the causeway, you know, we're catching people a little bit, you know, and I'm like, good, what we're doing is working, and we're, you know, and I feel better than I thought I was going to feel.
Good.
And so we're 22, 23 miles, get back to the thing, and we start going around and heading up that, you know, up that big hill by the fence. And there's a giant herd of buffalo there, and I stopped and took some pictures, and I'm like, cool, ever seeing buffalo? Because we didn't see anything on the way out, you know. And I think they'd kind of herded up. Like, I don't know if they were throwing food out for them, you know, or something, but
They knew the storm was brewing.
yeah. And then when you get up on top on the road, you could see this
Swell.
this front coming across, and it looked like Frodo and Sam going into Mount Doom, right? Like it was just dark and ominous, and I'm just
You're
like,
like, huh,
whoa,
what's happening there?
So I get up and it hits, and like 40-mile-an-hour winds sustained. Like they weren't gusts; they were just straight up blowing, and you can't stand up straight, right? And the sleet and just that real crappy kind of snow, and I'm like, well, this is Utah, it's going to do that for 8 minutes and then it'll stop, right?
Yeah.
8 minutes, 20 minutes. Now we're an hour into this, and I got a shoulder down, and and we're going through, and I'm about like 4 miles from the White Rocks, or I could turn around and go 2 miles back to the start, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to DNF. I don't want to stop, but this is kind of dumb, especially if we're going up to Elephant Head from here.
Yeah.
Right. And some of that trail's a little sketchy up there, and it's completely outside of my personality to like be responsible and stuff. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back at least to the road and see what the plan is.
Yeah.
So I turned around, and we were headed out. What is that loop that goes around?
White Rock Bay.
Yeah, right. And so I turned back, and I'm heading back towards the road, and I'm, really bummed. I'm like, I don't want to get a DNF, but I don't want to die, and all this stuff.
What about you were still with these guys that were...
No, because...
you separated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and...
so you were solo at this point?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were, they were sub 30 years old, and then one of them's like, dude, we're going to slow down a little bit. You keep going. And I was like...
You were hanging with the youngins and dropped them.
Old guy, just running away, But they were guys that were just relying on the fact that they were really studs. I don't think they were out getting a lot of miles. They were just, hey, let's go do 50 because we're 25 years old and we can do anything, And they really could, They were really, really, and just really nice guys. But so I'm heading back, and got my head down, and I'm all sad, right? And this big old like a Yukon pulls up, and it rolls the window down. This guy's like, "Get in! They've canceled the race, and we're out saving people," And my first response was, "I didn't DNF."
Yeah.
Right? And everybody in the truck starts laughing because that's the first question all of them asked too, And so there were like 10 guys in this truck, and we're just packed to the ceiling, and they just, driving around. And then we put one more guy in, and then it got back to the tent, and by this time I'm shivering, like I'm really cold. And so we go in the tent, and they're like, getting people, and I can't stop shivering. I'm like, I know my body temperature is going to come up, like be cool. Right. And so this lady, she comes over, and she's like, you look like you're really still shivering. We need to warm you up. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, well, take off everything wet. And I'm like, well, I'm not falling for that old line.
I fell for that once in prison.
Come on. And so she wraps this blanket around me, and then puts a garbage sack over me and the blanket, and then gets me a bowl of soup. And I felt like I was in a refugee camp, and there's paramedics and the park rangers, and Jim is on the phone. But like, that was one of the really cool things about it, was just the response. Right? Yeah. It was about, let's get everybody in, get them safe. Running's one thing, but safety's another, and just the way the volunteers were all responding and helping and getting everybody in and warmed up. And it was just like, it was really fun. We were laughing and having fun in the tent, and I was just going to go get in my truck and go home. But I had left a drop back at White Rocks, and it had a $200 pair of shoes in it. And I'm like, I'm going to wait here for my shoes, And so as soon as my drop bag came in, I jumped in the truck and called Eric.
I said that was pretty good, because Jim, one of the things he posted, he says the weather became apocalyptic.
Apocalyptic.
That was his quote from that. So, which is interesting. So I've been, trail running, racing in the world for a while and paying attention, and it hasn't really been, except for the last few years, that you've seen this, like races being shut off in the middle. I mean, oh boy, it was the Pocatello 50 at the time. It's now Scout Mountain. And that happened when I was in a race. It was a blizzard on top. It was June, of course, blizzard season.
Yep.
In Idaho, and that happened. But a couple of years ago, I think when DC Peaks had their thing on the mountain, it really heightened people's decision making on these situations because my I was talking just before the race started, and we knew the bad weather was coming in, and it was like, oh, they don't cancel trail runs. Right. I mean, you just deal with it. Lightning, yeah, they'll hunker down or something, but I don't think anybody anticipated what happened out there. I mean, I saw a lot of videos. I mean, tents were getting blown over and broken, the canopies. So it was a pretty interesting event. But the fact that it's a Thursday-Friday event, Thursday was no clouds in the sky pretty much when they started. So 100-milers finished. Some, not all. Some early start 50-milers got to finish. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm excited to have Jim on later, in a few days, hopefully, to talk from a race director standpoint. Like, what's not just protocol, but how do you do the finish times, right? Because you think if you're an early starter on the 50-miler on Thursday, you're ranking top 10, right? Of a 50-miler. I'm like, man, I should have ran that 50 on Thursday.
You know how many times I said that? Like, I'm going through the tundra. I look like, and I'm like, why didn't I start yesterday? I'd be home right now, sitting in the tub, just relaxing, And, but like anybody can be a really good race director on a sunny, beautiful day.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But showing his mettle like he did out there and taking care of everybody, I mean, huge props to Jim and all the volunteers, because they were really like genuinely concerned about my well-being, which is unusual.
Usually it's like,
whatever. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it's got to be a hard call, right? Like I've put on races, not obviously to this extent, but it's why we would like to get Jim in. I mean, it's just that hard call because you've got people out there like yourself. Everybody has their story, what they've put into the training, not even, and you hear all the time about people talking about the money, like, well, on a refund and on a discount and all this stuff. It's like, this is a business, putting on races, and most of your expenses are spent up front. You know what I mean? So I haven't heard any negativity from this event. Everything I've seen online has been very positive. Just like you mentioned, like Jim made it. He made the decision and just went with it. Didn't second guess it, just made it. How do we get everybody safe? And I think that's the biggest thing, because the community is that of looking out for each other. As you experienced probably in the Yukon, I mean, it wasn't like the bunch of people in there were excited, to not be running. I mean, with the weather, it may have been different, but I think that's a tough call because it's really up to you. He can bounce ideas off, but if it's one way or another, he's the one that's taking the heat or the accolade, I guess, or the gratitude. But it was interesting when I got your call. I'm like, what in the world? And then I saw a few videos before that, and I'm like, oh, it's pretty nutty. And I've been out on the island. It's its own system out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been caught in one of the worst snowstorms I've ever been in on the island. Me, Jim, and Joel Hatch one time were running, and Jim's the veteran, and he looked, and we saw this storm coming in, and we were on Mountain View.
Yep.
So it's flat.
Yep.
And Jim's like, we probably got an hour. We got to get moving. So we're like, all right, let's go back to the car. About 20 minutes later, we just got blasted. Yeah. And I'm like, Jim, you suck. Yeah. Like you weren't even close weather, man. Yeah. But I'm glad everybody made it okay.
These glasses on, I was running because I have to have bifocals on. Right, so I buy these like midlife crisis glasses that look really cool, but they're bifocals.
Do they look really cool?
They fit my outfit. They match my outfit. And I kept having to wipe the sleet off, like they iced over, and I couldn't see, and then like the signs are blowing down, and the trail markers are blowing away, and there's at one point where you like the 50-mile and 100-mile turn and go out around that White Rocks Bay, right? And then the 50K guys were running straight down to White Rocks campground.
Okay.
And the sign had blown over.
Uh-oh.
And I, thinking, well, I don't want any of the 50-milers going that way and it beating me by 6 miles, because they don't know where you're going. So I set the sign up, and I'm making sure everybody's following the rules.
So
'cause
you're volunteering,
Yeah,
and being part of the.
I just didn't want anybody like getting ahead of me without trying real hard.
You should have just said you were just trying to help.
Yeah.
You should just
What I should have done was just ran down to White Rock. I'd been thinking,
put the sign up and went down. I didn't see it.
No sign. Yeah.
I didn't see what it was.
But there was a big pile of pink ribbons in this corner of like a fence corner. And there was like pink ribbons all stuck in there where they had blown away from the trail, and they were all.
Jeez.
And it was to the point where you couldn't even see the trail on the ground, really.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not familiar enough with this area to like even make it home.
We hit water.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
you're in the wrong spot.
Right.
You're on an island.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's too bad. So overall though, a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because of what you're doing. How do you feel about it? I know it's like obviously right decisions were made, but how do you feel since this was like, some runners out there is like their fourth time or they've done it before or whatever else, but coming to your first 50 and having those emotions, the feeling you had to do it. How do you feel about it that way?
Like, so it was the first 22, 23 miles was some of the most enjoyable miles I've ever put on my shoes.
Yeah.
Right. It was like that Mountain View Trail is magical. The before daylight thing was so cool. And I was putting together exactly to my game plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was hitting all the numbers I wanted to hit, exactly what I had planned on. And then when I get back, my legs feel better than I planned on. Right. And my lungs and all that, I'm doing great. I'm not tired, mentally. I'm not thinking, I haven't thought, okay, I got to make up a story. So when I DNF, it'll like, no, it was that knee thing happened again, I just felt so good. And, so that made me feel a little better.
Yeah.
Like I was texting your wife and, I was like, I feel considerably more confident that I could actually move my body 50 miles than I did the day before the race, even in the hurricane. However, I might have just gone out too fast and I could have, at mile 35, be laying in the fetal position, crying in the middle of the trail or whatever. But I didn't feel like I was, like everything I'd planned on doing, I was doing really well.
Okay.
Which is unusual.
So you're taking away some confidence with that then?
Yes, absolutely.
So you're taking away confidence with it. So what does that mean? Because one of my first questions, because I was ready. I knew you were going to finish. So I had a whole slew of questions for you.
Yeah.
And the one question I was most excited to ask is, when's the 100-miler?
Well, I was just before I came here, I was on Ultra Sign Up.
Oh,
looking
here we go.
At the Pony Express.
Going down that road of being Ultra Sign Up.
I'm gonna for sure gonna do the Pony Express.
50 mile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I want to get a good 50, and know what it feels like and be happy about it, and
that's the one.
Yeah. Because schedule and everything, that's the one.
And when's that one? Give the listeners
October
an idea.
Something.
In October.
Yep.
The Pony Express soup. And this one, it's a little different though. There's tons of vert. Right?
No, I don't think there's any. Right? I think it's a
negative.
It's a net loss of like 80 feet. Right? Or something like that. It's flat and dirt. And
but so you know all about it, right? Pony Express. No real self-supported.
Yep.
Pretty much. You got your own crew driving down the dirt road with you.
No turns.
No. Yeah.
No turns. No trees. Just like a point A to point B through the desert.
So now you've got from here until October to get ready.
Get a lot more miles in.
So what does your schedule look like in your mind right now, what you've already either A, signed up for, or B, might get ready for to get there in October?
Well, I've already signed up for Coldwater
Traverse, which is a local trail run, 16-ish miles.
Yeah, so that's not, but that's good. And I have a schedule for the whole year already done.
Okay.
Which are, I'm doing 35 to 40 right now.
Okay.
And that increases throughout the summer until I'll be doing 50 plus a week, towards the end.
So you're not doing any of the races right now?
Well, and then there's other races. Well, I got road races. I'm doing the Ogden Marathon.
Okay, that's in May 20th.
My darling is an ambassador, and I have a lot of dear friends at the Ogden Marathon, so I got to support them guys.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only two I've officially signed up for.
Coldwater and Ogden Marathon.
There's a bunch we were looking at, but I can't remember. So Coldwater, Ogden Marathon, and then Pony Express for sure.
In October.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the Skyline. There's El Vaquero Loco.
Which is sold out.
Is it sold out?
It is. I'm on the wait list.
It like last year, that was almost the same kind of event,
Yeah,
right?
so-
it was the worst storm I'd ever been in a race until I did the Buffalo Run.
So basically, the reason I'm doing this is I want to make sure whatever races you're signing up for, no one else does.
Right,
Right.
because, like, I'm
you're
a-
bringing
I'm
some
a
bad
weather
mojo.
jinx.
Yeah.
I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah. So
It's
Ogden
my
Marathon is always got a reputation of being crappy weather. So lock
And I
that
always
in.
run it.
Lock that in.
It's me.
Yeah, it is you. So that's interesting. But I'm excited. It'll be good to. We'll have you back on for sure in the fall. Then talk about the Pony Express. I'm sure the play-by-play of that will be amazing.
Yeah. We ran straight. Then we ran some more straight.
I think I missed a turn, but I didn't. and then just so the listeners are aware that aren't, and you. So it's just your run gear. Just your run gear. That's what we call it. Just the
my
run gear. Yeah. Just got my run gear on,
Huh.
Outfits don't sound good. Uniforms don't sound good. Yeah. Because I coach soccer, and sometimes, what's your outfits for this game? I'm like, I don't even know what we're talking about right now.
Outfit.
Yeah. That's
Run
more of
gear.
Outfit's more of a date night thing.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of anything else. Yeah. So yeah, run gear.
Because I think that's where it comes from, right? Because my wife, she's already got her outfit for
Picked
the
out.
Ogden Marathon laid out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ready to go,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah,
For May.
and she's like, oh, well, I can't. Like, she was looking at shoes and trying them on and everything. And they were like, well, these are and talking about stack height and, drop and all that. And she's like, yeah, but I need them to be purple because
And for the listeners, that's not how she sounds.
no.
We love Laquita. That's not how she sounds. So
But-
we'll get rid of that right now.
She's really cute and tries really hard at it. So, yeah, I got to give her props for that.
That's good. Well, we're super bummed that you weren't able to finish your first 50. It's great to hear how good you felt, though.
Yeah,
right?
it really and food wise and everything, and all of that was just kicking. I have my two water bottles, and I had one full one and one that was kind of almost empty. And I'm like, well, I'm only 7 miles away from the next one. I'll be good and I'll fill up there, and drank it all in like 3 miles. And so I got 4 miles of, I wished I'd have filled up both my water bottles. So a new thing that I've added to my list is never leave a water station without all the water you can carry.
Yeah.
So that was good. But
Did you try anything new food-wise that you didn't plan on or didn't think about that you tried at this one, though?
no, they had ginger snaps and I ate a couple of those and they were delicious.
Yeah.
And that might be why I ran out of water, because they dried my mouth.
Yeah. Had a mouthful of saltines, but man, I got thirsty. Yeah, ginger's good. Ginger's good on the tummy.
Yeah.
I don't eat anything ginger pretty much ever. Sometimes during sushi night, but ginger during a race seems to always give me a little bit of a
Yeah, and
settle.
I didn't have any, like 911 bushes events or anything like that, which is good.
Yeah, considering there's no bushes
Right.
out there.
And
And Pony
And really,
Express, I
like-
don't think there is either.
before every race, like, that's a stated goal before every race, is no involuntary evacuations.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if I can finish and not have an involuntary evacuation, it's a success no matter what the clock says.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that's like, but yeah, good for you. Good for you on that. Well, that's good though. Have you got any emails or messages from anybody since like the race itself, or just checking on you?
Yeah, like everybody.
Yeah.
My work, we had a big sales meeting that I missed, and I guess the boss, mentioned it to everybody zooming all across the country, all the salesmen, Kirk's out probably on about mile 14 right now of a 50-mile race, and so they all checked in with me, are you alive? What's going on? And so that was fun. And then, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, again, we appreciate you sitting down with us twice now. Not the ending we were all hoping for, but probably the right decision. But it'll come again. You get another chance. You'll get another crack at it in the fall.
Well, and I got like a really cool coffee cup and didn't have to actually do the 50 miles, right? It was kind of best case scenario, Yeah.
So he was handing out the mugs.
Yeah. And,
Nice.
I honestly, though, I feel a little weird drinking out of it.
Do
right?
you?
Yeah. Because I didn't actually go 50 miles, right? And I'm drinking out of this 50-mile finisher cup, but it's a beautiful cup.
Well, months and months ago, we sat down with Jim. We were having a time with Jim, and we threw around the idea with him of some DNF mugs, and there was his initial launch was this weekend. So if you DNF, you got a DNF mug. So I'm also wondering to hear how those went over for the people that might have DNF before the storm. So
Wow.
it'll be interesting to see. I think it's uncharted waters. So when we get Jim and sit down with him, we'll ask him those types of questions of
Yeah.
DNF. What does that look like? Finishes look like? How do you report it? Do you just say
Right.
it's a wash? But if you finish the 100, because I saw the top female in the 100, she was third overall, first female. So you got to rack that up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see and also just kind of get a good idea. But knowing Jim, he'll be like, nope, I just canceled it.
Yeah.
Man of little words.
Yeah.
But we'll get him to speak a little bit more. So
I think I'm going to take that cup and only fill it halfway.
there you go. There you go.
I only drink 26 miles worth of.
Get a Sharpie and put a line on the inside and say, that's as far as I can fill this for now.
I can fill it. That's what I'm going to do.
That's actually a pretty neat idea, actually. I think you might have started something.
Okay.
Well, Kirk, sorry that didn't work out for you. I was excited when you called because I thought you were calling me from the trail saying, I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah.
But you sounded well, but we'll have the video. We'll probably post a little bit of that just so they can see that video you sent me of what it was like. But,
Yeah. And there was a guy in a kilt,
Oh, yeah.
and I met him at the top of the hill.
Was that Andrew? Was that his name, Andrew Barney?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he was just, and like I had turned around and was heading back to the road, and he was cruising down the road. He was like, it could have been 80 degrees, and in Hawaii, he would look happy. And
that's him.
just kicking
He's
it
done
down
it
the road.
all. If
Yeah.
that was him, he's done it all. So it was like, normal day.
Yeah.
Just another ultra.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for taking the time, sitting down with us. And, we'll keep tabs on you, get you on the fall. We want to be here and get you on when you finish that first 50. So,
Okay.
all right. Well, thanks for listening to the Trail Manners podcast. Kurt, thanks for joining us again, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Trail Manners podcast. I'd like to thank Kirk Probasco for joining us again to talk about the Buffalo Run 50. And we just want to wish him luck the rest of the year on all his races and the 50-miler in the fall. I want to encourage everybody to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Trail Manners, or swing by the website at trailmanners.com. Or you can hit us up on the contact page and let me know what you want to see, who you want to hear, or if you would like to be on the show. And if you just take a minute to subscribe to the show and leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Facebook, I would truly appreciate that. Until next time, this is Eric Manning reminding you, you don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Now go get it.